So, Andy, it's been a little while, but not that long since you actually started designing boats on your kitchen table. About 5 years, I think.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. So been in the industry, I guess, coming up for sort of 12 years, following graduation from the Solent region, and formed Chartwell Marine 5 years ago. And we've been fortunate in that time to have a variety of projects, both in the commercial sector and in the leisure sector. And I guess the theme throughout has been innovation, trying to find ways to come up with either new vessels, new designs, or using new technologies within those vessels. So for me, I very much enjoy being in this space, and the projects going forward continue that hunger and that interest.
So, you tell me a little bit more about what attracted you into the industry in the first place. I mean, you've talked about some technology, you've got strategy for these new projects, and obviously we're all very well aware you've been involved a lot in decarbonisation and what's going to happen with Workboat 2050 for that.
Yeah, yeah. So reason for entry to the market: grew up on Mersey Island in Essex, and grew up sailing. Moved to the Southampton region with a view that I wanted to go sailing fundamentally, and so decided to study naval architecture. With that came the desire to design sailing boats. Sadly, came out of university sort of in the recession period, and so it was kind of, what's best to look at. Went over to the Isle of Wight, and at the time there were a number of vessels being built at South Boats in the Medina village on the Isle of Wight. And these vessels were for offshore wind, and I at the time didn't really understand what that meant and what that would transpire to be, but they were building vast quantities of boats, all with a single purpose: to get as many turbines up as we physically could to transition to renewable energy. So straight away, there was an interest there. And then when you look at the transition of boats that we've seen since those initial vessels were being built, we've gone from fairly standard sort of 13 through 15 meter boats to upward of 30 meter, on foils, on surface effect ship technology, using hybrid propulsion, using dual fuel propulsion. So to have made that transition as an industry within 10 years, is hugely exciting, and is what keeps the hook in, keeps us going.
So, you've given us a bit of insight as to how Chartwell took off. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your strategy going forward?
Yeah, yeah. So future strategy really revolves around trying to use what we've learned in the projects delivered so far, to develop new ideas that we can first and foremost computationally determine whether they're viable, and secondly use model testing methods to determine they're viable. So we want to make what we call memorable boats. We can't always make them attractive. We try our best, but sometimes functionality has to take precedent. Our mission is to deliver memorable boats. So in the immediate sense, innovations include larger tonnage. So we have a vessel of 55 meters in size, which is predominantly for offshore wind, but could be transferred for the yachting sector. And the whole idea behind that boat is stability. So trying to get a really low roll period boat, a really smooth, comfortable boat, which will aid offshore workers if they're sleeping offshore. And for yachting, obviously, comfort is what we're all striving for. What we all want is a nice, comfortable place to be that feels like home. And so a lot of innovation and research in that side. On the other side of the coin, which is very much coupled with the kind of, I guess, the whole mission, is obviously decarbonisation. So what can we do to the vessels to make them more efficient? What technology can we use to reduce the energy required to move them? And what power plants can we use inside that are less harmful in terms of their emissions, noise, and as I say, vibration and comfort. So a strive for improving vessels, a strive to widen our industry collaborations. We're currently working extensively with BAR Technologies, Engineered Marine Systems, Boat Electric Electronics, Humphreys Yacht Design, and Xelum, but to name a few. So very important to build on those collaborations. We're here based on the Solent. We're very fortunate to have shipbuilders in our region, both on the Isle of Wight with Wight Shipyard, Diverse Marine, AMC, and over Weymouth Way with Manor Marine, and all the way down to Cornwall with coastal workboats, for example. So very, very good region to be in. I can't forget where I came from. I still love the East Coast. So building with Alley Cat workboats up on the East Coast, as well as we're in a good place. So that forms a large part of the strategy, is focusing on UK vessel production, and then broader than that, we're fortunate to be able to export our designs, building them worldwide, in the States, in Ireland, and as far as Singapore. An exciting prospective future going forward.
And you've got quite a crew working with you now to help you do that, haven't you, over the last few years?
Yeah. The team's grown. We're really fortunate to have a local universities, Southampton University and Southampton Solent University. So with that comes a pool of talent. So we're in excess of 15 naval architects here at Chartwell, and together with our sister company, Cedar Marine, we provide a wide range of marine services, and we're looking to expand that as the market develops, which long may it continue.
And so you've got people here in this office, and you've got other locations, I believe.
Yeah. So with the increasing work scope, I suppose, predominantly with offshore wind, but also throughout the commercial maritime sector, it's important to be able to be nimble to respond to our clients' needs. So in addition, we have personnel based up in Newcastle, and then further afield in both Spain and Portugal.